My name is Keeluv, and I made $315 selling my old clothes and things at the flea market. I got a good bit of questions and messages on Facebook asking, how I did it, any tips, things like that. So I figured I'd just make a video saying everything that happened, what I did from start to finish. So if you're interested, sit back and let's get into it. So I made a little notebook to keep me on track because I'm a professional yapper. So please bear with me. So number one, let's get into the marketing. This is huge. I would say this is like 50% of the battle, especially if you have like a specific audience in mind. Like me personally, I knew I had a lot of name brand things. I knew I had a lot of things that were just cute. And I wanted a specific audience. Like I wanted people my age. I wanted people that were into fashion. I wanted people that were like a little more eclectic. Like I really wanted to draw in those type of people. And I grew up at the flea market. So if you ever been to a flea market, just know there's a very wide range of people. So your marketing is going to be what draws in the audience that you really want. So I separated my marketing into two separate things in my head. I did digital marketing and then physical marketing. And I'll show you kind of how it comes full circle. So my digital marketing, I brainstormed really hard and I made a flyer in Canva. I sat at the table. I'll put some footage here of like the whole process, but I had this idea of doing everything under $5. So I made a flyer in Canva. I made it super cool, very trendy, very modern. I'll show you that flyer here. I got a lot of inspiration off like Pinterest, but I want to say really push yourself to be creative. I really enjoyed this part, and I never really saw exactly, it wasn't like I saw something on Pinterest and I have to recreate this exact thing. Like really try to be unique and like make it your own thing. I kind of took ideas and was kind of generating this theme in my head, and you want it to be yours. And I think ultimately it paid off in the long run because a lot of people did come from the flyer. It did attract those type of people. So get a lot of inspiration from Pinterest, include your date, your time, kind of build hype and kind of a branding around your sale. And it's going to kind of tell people what you have before they even come out there. So yeah, I took the digital marketing, and this was solely for the Facebook groups. I was in a thrifting enthusiast Facebook group, and it got a lot of attention on there. I posted it there with like a caption kind of saying, hey guys, I'm moving, I'm selling on these things. These are the brands. Come grab it before I donate it. And it got a ton of attention there. I posted it in some like yard sale groups. I posted it on TikTok, and I posted it on my Instagram. And overall, it built a bit of hype. Okay, now to carry the same branding over to my physical marketing, this is where I stayed up at night just painting things, painting posters, my signage. Think about, the signs on the table, your price tags. Everybody loved this idea. I got a lot of compliments on my price tags, and I did kind of eat that, if I do say so myself. I was on Pinterest searching like little cute creative price tags, and I could not find what I was looking for. And my big thing was, again, I'm moving, so I wasn't trying to spend a lot of money on the event. So I was like, what do I have around this house that I could use as a price tag? I had like 3 decks of cards, like playing cards. And I was like, fuck it, we about to draw the price on here. So we're going to paint it on here. At that point, I have been painting so much. Think branding, okay? Think of like the way that a company like with Louis Vuitton, they have that signature brown, that signature green, a signature orange, and they carry it over into everything. Try to do that same exact thing with your branding, from the digital planning to the physical. So in my digital planning, my flyer, I had a bright red color. That's one of my favorite colors. I love that color, and it really represents me. And I brought it over into my physical planning, my physical media. Physically, I wanted people to be able, if you're at a flea market of a lot of people, you want them to be able to find you. So I did big, bright poster boards, and I named it Baddie Moving Sale because that's what was on the flyer. So if people saw the flyer, they could come see me in person, and they would see these big, bright posters that said Baddie Moving Sale. It worked out beautifully. And I wanted it to look curated, but not too, like I just painted the letters on. I wanted it to look a little bit handmade because that was kind of part of the branding, so it worked out really well. I did like little polka dots. I got that idea from my camera bag. This is where I keep all my like electronics, my small ones, and I was like, it was sitting there while I was recording. I was like, you know what, throw some polka dots on there, you know, and it just really speaks to really making it yours, you know, like don't just go on Pinterest and take exactly somebody's idea. Try to be creative, and I think it pays off. So yeah, I did the tags, I did playing cards as tags, I did the flyers in the bright colors, and I did the big posters or whatever, and it worked out really well. So yeah. The next big thing to tackle are the logistics. Now, this is how are you going to set up the sale? What is the day like? What is your money looking like? How much are you spending on the sale? What are the logistics of actually making this happen and come to fruition? So for me, I didn't have a lot of the things that I would need to set up the sale at home. I know, like, when I lived with my mom, I did have a lot of that stuff, like the tables, the chairs, clothing racks, and like things like that. I didn't have that here. So I really leaned on my resources. I reached out to some friends who let me borrow their clothing racks. Shout out to them. So I didn't pay anything for that. I didn't have any tables, so I went on Facebook Marketplace and found people renting tables. It was a good bit of people actually that rent tables. I actually am so curious how much profit that is as a business, because anyway, this lady was renting tables. She had 6-foot tables, 4-foot tables, chairs, and tents, and she had like round tables. She just had a plethora of tables. I rented 2 6-foot tables, 1 4-foot table, and a tent, and 1 chair from her. I had one at the house, one like folding chair at the house. So I was like, let me just get one more for, you know, if my friends come. So ultimately that ended up being $34. She was pretty affordable, and I had to do like a $30 deposit, which I ended up getting back, and it was really affordable. That was pretty cheap. So at this point I had spent $34 on the chair, and then the next thing was making sure you choose where you're going to have the sale. I personally spent $30 on a space at our flea market. However, I did have to do some kind of market research on what flea market I wanted to be at. So where I live, there's like the main state flea market that gets the most traffic, and then there's like a smaller city next to it that gets a decent amount of traffic as well. But that city, the space at that market on a Saturday was $30, and it came with 2 tables. So ultimately, I would have spent $30 all together. Versus the other market, the bigger market, was $50 for a table, and $50 for a space, and you didn't get any tables. And I was like, I would love to save the money, but I ultimately decided that the audience at the bigger market, I think I would make up for the cost and just sales, because it was just a little bit more popular of an audience. Like, not popular, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, it was a younger crowd a little bit, and just not even, you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, I ultimately chose that second market because it was a bigger crowd. Like, more people just go there, that's all. It wasn't even like a specific crowd, because it's a pretty ranged crowd, but I felt like people know that market a little bit more versus the other market was a little smaller. So, but what ended up happening was, although I specifically read it was $50 for a space on the weekend, $30 during the week. But when they sent me my invoice, they only charged me $30. So they didn't ask me no questions. I didn't ask them no questions. So shout out to them for that. I don't know what that was about. So ultimately, at this point, I've spent $30 on the space and then $34 on the chairs, tables, like the setup materials, okay? So ultimately, let's say we spent like $65 on setup logistics, okay? So the next thing is the quality of products. This took a lot, but for me, I am a super, super organized person, and I think it paid off in the long run. I didn't want to put bullshit out there, because ultimately, this was like my brand, you know, like, not that this is a business I'm running, but I felt like I had put my face out there. I'm going to be the one selling this stuff. I don't want to put out dirty clothes or like bullshit clothes, stuff that I know nobody wants, clothes with holes in them. Like, you know, so I did a big purge in my closet of everything I didn't wear. I did a purge of things around the house that I didn't use, things that I love, but I didn't need, you know, I'm moving anyway. So I had to do this stuff anyway. And I just washed everything, hung everything up. I ended up washing everything one weekend. I think it's important to try to split the stuff up, to think about time management. And again, that's why I said start weeks ahead, because I washed everything one weekend, put it all in a tote, you know, dried it and stuff, put it all in a tote. A big tip I have is to spray everything with fabric refreshener. I use the Febreze spray. I think people are more likely to buy things when they smell it. It smells clean. You know, I just wanted to reaffirm them that everything is clean, is you know, yeah. I sorted everything and tagged everything. Idea of this is kind of offloading as much of the day of stress as possible. So everything being pre-tags, everything, even though I had like the whole idea of everything under $5, still everything had a tag, a price on it. Everything had a tag on it. Even as much as packing the car. I packed the car the night before or 2 nights before because I wanted that day right before the sale to solely be focused on me doing my own hair, me doing my own nails, stuff like that. This took hours, y'all. I really want to be super clear about the effort and time that this took. I don't think that this should go unnoticed, that this was hours and hours and hours of work. And if I was solely fueled by the profit from it, this would not have been worth it. Again, I was trying to get rid of stuff. If you are not solely trying to get rid of stuff, up your prices, okay? Up your prices. Do not do everything under $5, okay? Oh my gosh, wait, I forgot to mention one thing I did not account for. My clothing racks kept falling over. It was so windy. Oh my gosh, it was so windy. And my neighbor, shout out to her, she had a clothing rack that kept falling over too. And she would like help us pick ours up. And eventually she had these like straps and she let me tie my rack to her pole because she had a tent. We could not figure out how to get that tent up for nothing. We could not figure out how to get that tent up. It was really stressing me out. And I woke up a little bit late on the day of and I just felt like I had to hurry up and I just got stressed and was like, fuck it, put the tent, put it up. It's whatever. Like, we're just going to be hot. It's okay. It was like 80 degrees that day and we were hot. So the final part is the day of. For my motto that whole day was like, you are the brand. And my big thing, I know myself, I'm very self-aware, I'm very organized person. So when things are disorganized, I am not able to show up as my best self. So all of the things I did before, all of the logistics were solely so that the day of, I could just focus on being excited, being happy, connecting with people. So I set out, I found a super cute little outfit. As you can see, I wore a red shirt. Back to branding, I wanted everything to come full circle. I wanted to match the brand that I was putting out there. Red was the color, polka dots. I did my pearls. I did something cutesy, girly. I intentionally even chose that wig. Like I wanted a big, as you can see, my hair's straight. The sale was 2 days ago. I put that wig on because I wanted something big and dramatic. You know, like I really wanted to match the whimsical kind of girly baddie vibe of the sale. And that's really who I am at my core. I wanted to make sure I could show up bubbly. I really wanted to talk to people. Ultimately, I think this drove a lot of my sales was just my personality. Anybody that walked by, I'm like, hi, how you doing? Like not pressuring anybody into buying things. Don't be weird. But just like when they come in speaking, I had music playing, I had a playlist going. That's why I couldn't really put a lot of the footage from the sale. You can't really hear that footage because I'm going to get copyrighted. So I had a lot of music going and it really did bring in a lot of people. Like I had so many conversations with people that they didn't even buy nothing. We was just talking. I met some man that was like showing me pictures of Biggie. I met some other random man that like people was telling me their life stories out there, okay? And I'm a professional yapper, so I was here for it. I was all into it, you know? And I think a lot of people just like enjoyed it. And even just the kind of the gratification that came from putting that type of energy out there. Like nobody else was playing music. My neighbor was so sweet. Shout out to Haneen. If you see this girl, like she really made it so much better. But yeah, so like I think that really drove a lot of my sales because a lot of people came and was like, oh my God, like I came from the group. And I was so like, oh my God, thank you for coming out. Even if you didn't buy anything, like I was like, thank you for shopping. Have a good one. People came up that didn't buy shit and was just telling me their whole life story. I heard so many life stories. I was talking to so many random ass people and you know what, it really filled my cup because like I said, I'm moving out of state and I'm from the South. I've always been in the South my whole life. And aside from, you know, obviously making money from the sale, getting rid of the stuff, I really genuinely am going to miss being in the South. And so I really kind of use this as my last ditch effort to just connect with community because I don't go out that much. So, and it did that. It really did that. Like I talked to so many people, like, it's kind of making me sad thinking about it. Like at the end of the day, I was really like, damn, I love the people here. I do. People can say whatever they want about the South. I genuinely enjoy connecting with the community. So if you don't, that's fine because not everybody was doing that out there. But like I do think that drove a lot of my sales. Be personable, talk to people, you know, even when you're ringing people up, you know, this is so cute. Thank you for buying, you know, stuff like that. And another big thing I did was music. I played poppin' music and I enjoy even being able to do that because nobody else had music. And shout out to my neighbor who, she was so helpful. That was really my girl. I ended up just like hanging out under her tent and stuff too. But she was like, girl, like I forgot my own music. Like I really appreciate you being out here. And we just ended up talking. We followed each other on Instagram. Like she was really, really cool. And just, you know, I ended up giving her something for free and she gave me stuff. Like it was just a really very genuine exchanges I had all day long. And it's not often that you get that opportunity. So if you're going to have a sale, why not? You know, just have good exchanges, have a positive attitude. Like, people are coming out, they're shopping with you, they don't have to stop. So yeah, make that a part of the brand as well. I believe I covered everything. If you have any questions, please ask me below. Ultimately, I ended up making $250 in profit. It was $315 total. And then minus the $65 that I put into it, it was $250 in profit. I split that straight down the middle with my best friend. So yeah, be happy, be nice, be positive, and have a good time doing it. Yeah, and good luck. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and I hope I see y'all at the next one. Bye.